Oh, mate, come on. You never change a winning tactic. Hey, look. Hey, come here, mate. Tell you what, so you know how I changed our tactic after a winning season, and now I've changed it back and we're like winning everything again? This bloke on YouTube, his son keeps trying to tell him, don't change a winning tactic. He keeps changing it after he wins the league. I don't know what's wrong with him. Like, stick to it, you'll beat him in the rebuild. Like, never change a winning tactic. It's obvious now.
Party in the streets and the city's on fire.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 24 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both AFC Auckland and with the All Whites. And coming up today, we've got two based on the table currently. Top of the table clashes with our A-League team. First up, it's the first New Zealand derby of season 3, second versus third on the league table, as we do take on the Wellington Phoenix, that one at Mount Smart. And also in a couple of weeks time, we will then take on currently top of the league Western Sydney Wanderers as well. Also a bit of a recap of some league form and also one friendly with the All Whites. If you're looking forward to all that coming up in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated, but we've gone forward quite a bit off the back of the episode at the end of last week, which was a mix of international football and an AFC Auckland game. If you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. We did qualify for the World Cup group phases in that episode and also picked up a draw against Melbourne City. Off the back of that, did make a change to our tactic, going back to an advanced forward instead of the pressing forward that we did try once we signed both Chris Wood and Ben Waine was trying the pressing forward, seeing as that's what they play as when they are with us on international duty. And as it turns out, going back to what was working when we won the A-League last season was a very good idea, because off the back of that draw with Melbourne City, we've started to absolutely spank teams. To be fair, most teams we have played off the back of that episode at the end of last week have not been very good. Brisbane City picked up a 5-0 win, including a Chris Wood hat-trick in our last two games. We've taken on Avondale and Western United, those two teams currently in relegation danger, and picked up 6-1 wins. Chris Wood continuing to be amongst the goals, especially in that most recent game where yet again he picked up a second hat-trick for the club. Didn't actually score in the Avondale game. Ben Waine, he scored in that one coming off the bench, but two very convincing 6-1 wins in the A-League in our last two games off the back of a 3-0 win with a rotated team in the third round of the Australian Cup over Moreton City Excelsior. The biggest game we've played, though, off the back of yesterday's episode with AFC Auckland was at that stage against top of the table Sydney FC at Mount Smart, and we picked up a convincing 3-0 win. So that definitely goes to show a lot better with the advanced forward instead of the pressing forward. Goals in this one to Ronaldo in the first half and Chris Wood and Fernandez in the second. Stats-wise, absolute domination. Sydney FC only one shot in the game and it wasn't even on target. We battered them and thankfully matched the XG and do pick up a 3-0 win. So things have gone very well off the back of yesterday's episode, and it is the reason that we have shot up the table in the A-League up to second, still behind the Western Sydney Wanderers, as they are yet to lose a game this season. But also, while we've been doing quite well form-wise, so have the Wellington Phoenix. They are just 2 points behind us, so it does mean this is probably the biggest New Zealand derby so far in the save. We'll see how we get on against that Phoenix team with a couple of pretty good New Zealand wonder kids in their midst off the back of some decent youth intakes to start the save. And in amongst those games that we have played with AFC Auckland, did schedule a friendly with the All Whites. Very interesting one, as we somehow got North Korea to come to New Zealand naturally. Played this game at North Harbour. Actually got to put this game on the big screen on the TV at home because I've got a South Korean wife and she really wanted me to win this game. Thankfully, we did fall out by half-time. Chris Wood with a double, Matthew Garbutt and Sarpreet Singh also got goals late in the first half. Made quite a few changes off the back of this because I actually thought we had two friendlies in this window. Got confused by the fact we were playing Kuwait on the 10th of November. I did think that was in this window. Got the month and the day mixed up. So only the one friendly in this window. It did mean didn't need to take off Chris Wood on a hat-trick, but it does keep him fresh for AFC Auckland due. North Korea grabbed a goal back during the second half, which no doubt their leader will make it sound like they've won the game now, but a nice 4-1 win there over North Korea. Unfortunately, hasn't done anything for our world ranking. We are still down in 92nd if we're going to look at the nation. So no improvement despite that win there over North Korea. But if we're going to look, they were just below us on the world rankings in 109th. So unfortunately, we didn't get a nice shoot up on the rankings off the back of that win. But it does mean we have now gone 19 games undefeated with the All Whites. Hopefully we can continue that in our next window. As you can see, we travel away to take on Palestine. That will be a very interesting away day. And also we take on Kuwait as well, those two teams. I'd like to think we can beat Palestine, equal 81st Suara team above us. On the world rankings, that could be tricky, but Kuwait, that looks a bit more winnable. They're all the way down in 123rd. So that's what's going on with the All Whites. Just that one game off the back of qualifying for the World Cup, and we picked up that win over North Korea. But today we focus on the A-League with AFC Auckland, two top of the table clashes. As I said, and first up, we take on the Phoenix, who this season have got off to a much better start than they have in the last couple that we have played of the save so far. That's probably because they've got some quite good youngsters in their midst, in the likes of George McDonald. Unfortunately, the fact he was born in Nelson does mean that poor old Adam Does FM, my son, isn't even the best new gen from Nelson in the save. As you can see, this guy isn't too far away at all from her looking at the All White squad. Might even get picked for that next window. We take on Palestine as well as Kuwait, but he's quite good, certainly on the verge of knocking someone like Max Matter out of the squad. And also, of course, they do have Adam White, the left back, who we have picked in the past for New Zealand duty. And also, they come into this one in a really good patch of form. 5 wins from their last 5, including a 1-0 win over the Central Coast Mariners at Sky Stadium in their last game, a team that we really struggle to beat so far in this save. So definitely need to respect them. But with this one being at Mount Smart, hopefully we can pick up a decent result, albeit are going to be missing one of Wellington Phoenix's former players on our books at AFC Auckland, because Cullen Elliott, he is out with a bruised knee. I say we'll be missing him, not going to risk him starting wise. Stefan Negro, he can start it right back. Elliott apparently can handle it, but just going to play things safe and start him from the bench for this first game of today's episode. And also just a slight shuffle up on the bench, because Matthew de Hotman de Villiers, our left wing back up for this season, is currently out with some sprained ankle ligaments for 5 days to 3 weeks. So we'll see if he comes back in time for that second game when we do take on the Western Sydney Wanderers. So just that one change to our usual starting 11 going in to this first New Zealand derby of the season. As I said, probably based on table position, the biggest one of the save so far, and we'll come back shortly and get stuck into the action from Mount Smart Stadium. And here are the team sheets for this first New Zealand derby of this third A-League season. There's our team as we ran through before. Negro at right back and Cullen Elliott down on the bench. But apart from that, we are at full strength, apart from the fact de Hotman de Villiers is not on the bench. The other Phoenix in superb form and going with a 4-4-2 under Giancarlo Italiano, aka Chiefy, second versus third on the table. We're in the blue and white hoops, the Phoenix. They're going with the yellow today, not the black, even though they sometimes wear that uniform at home when Western United don't show up in the wrong kit. But we've got a highlight here from the kickoff, and hopefully a chance for us here to get off to a good start, especially with Chris Wood in such good form off the back of yesterday's episode. He is currently the leading goal scorer in the A-League. He's on the ball here. We thankfully keep it now. Pascali, he'll play that one out to Negro. We'll see what he can do in here for Cullen Elliott. Ronaldo squares that one. Pascali, for some reason, passes back to Negro. A tamer. Good early chance for us here to apply some pressure on the next. Pascali tries to find the Debungo, but a poor back pass from Ben Old. He should have stuck to goal, and Georgi Kivunadze will beat there. I think that's Duncan in goal for the Phoenix today. Indeed it is. That's interesting. That's quite an average goalkeeper considering how well they're doing this season. But that's a shocker from Ben Old off the back of a pretty good interception. It looked like the Phoenix would stop that highlight, but unfortunately poor back pass there to Duncan, and Kivunadze puts it away. It's an early gift to give us a 1-0 lead. And going up to the 10-minute mark for our next highlight in this game, so far we've been the team on the front foot, the Phoenix, yet to do anything. And yet again, we go looking here to do something down that left-hand side. Will be a loose touch there, and the Phoenix might get a chance themselves. Nice ball there from McDonald for Ben Old. Tries to float that one into the mix. A good block there from Debungo, and this might actually be a chance for us here to do something on the counter-attack. Caputo finds Ronaldo in some space down that right-hand side. Some good dribbling there to evade his man. Now, Negro with a shot, but unfortunately blasts that one over the bar, but the early signs are encouraging from this one with a 1-0 lead. And so far, the Phoenix haven't done anything in terms of shots, albeit they do have a free kick here right off the back of that previous highlight. Sam Sutton, a poor pass. Atema nearly wins that one for us, but thankfully for the Phoenix, they keep it. Good slide tackle again from Atema. It forced to Sloan Rodriguez, currently in the all-white squad, but that is a big save from Alex Paulson to keep out his fellow all-white, and it remains 1-0 for now, but the Phoenix do now start to apply some pressure at corner, but thankfully we head that one away and keep it at 1-0 to Auckland. And a fair bit happening in the first half of this game. Now a free kick here in our favour, and Victor Ross will put that one home, albeit the assistant referee there up top has just put his flag up, so I think this one might get ruled out. We'll see how close it was. Indeed, the players aren't celebrating, and the goal has been disallowed. A chance for us there to grab a buffer goal, but unfortunately too good to be true. Just offside there is our centre-back, so it remains 1-0. And not too long off the back of that free kick, which the goal got ruled out from down the other end. Now one for the Phoenix here. Rufer gets his head on the end of that one, but that is a very tame attempt at goal. Alex Paulson can just claim that, and this might be a chance for us now to hopefully go down the other end and try and make it 2-0 before we get into the second half of this game. So far, it's been an action-packed first half. Ronaldo doing well to keep hold of the ball. Pascali finds Chris Wood. Nice ball out there to Debungo in some space, makes his way inside the box. He takes on a shot. It gets blocked, and the Phoenix here might get a chance on the counter-attack. In fact, no, because Victor Ross gets that ball before George McDowell. Now Debungo, nice ball there for Ronaldo. Good chance, but that is a decent save from Duncan. That shot pretty much straight at him, and it's still 1-0 to Auckland. And the action has died down in the second part of this first half, so it looks like we're going to go into the sheds with a 1-0 lead, albeit playing well, but might be forced here into a substitution. Stefan Negro has picked up an orange injury late in that first half, and of course we did put Callan Elliott on the bench instead of someone like Paris Dudley from our under-19s because he was not quite on a full green heart with the under-19s having played before this. So I think we're going to have to risk here Callan Elliott on that orange injury, which he is currently dealing with. Should be fine from that off the back of this game, but hopefully the former Wellington Phoenix man can do a decent job as at right back during the remainder of this game, but pretty happy with how things are going. Hopefully we can grab a cushion goal at some stage during the second half and pick up all 3 points as we hold a 1-0 lead in this New Zealand derby. And it's taken about 20 minutes of the second half for us here to get the first highlight of it. We start to make our way on the attack from inside of our own half stats-wise, pretty much picking up where we left off in that first half. We are on the ball here, some good short passing on the edge of the box. Now we eventually find Elliott in some good space down that right-hand side. Squeeze it nicely for Ronaldo, but that is a very good save at point-blank range from Duncan, and he keeps it at 1-0 with 20 minutes left. And shortly off the back of that chance to Ronaldo to make it 2-0, we are going to make a sub here. Taylor Tamer's just going fairly out there on a 6.5. Don't want to make any substitutions for the sake of it when it's only 1-0. Cushion goal will help, but Nathan Palmer can come on the last little bit of this game. Still got a couple of stoppages off the back of this. If we can grab a goal to just make sure that we will pick up all 3 points, but for now it's still 1-0. But shortly off the back of that substitution, there is a free kick here in our favour. Courtney Perkins will take it. He's starting to find some really good form in those last couple of games that we have played. Now Palmer will slot through Chris Wood. He might pick up his 10th goal this season. That did look like a close call for offside, but he is in superb form currently, both for the All Whites and for AFC Auckland, and he was onside. And there's the cushion goal we've been looking for since we scored that one in the first minute, largely thanks to Ben Old. But Palmer, that's a lovely ball, and Chris Wood just gets him behind the defence. Not too sure who it was that kept him onside. It looked like the defensive line was a bit jumbled up, and indeed it was mainly that centre-back there on the left-hand side of Chris Wood. Might have stuffed that up for the rest of the Phoenix. We make it 2-0, and as we head into the last 10 minutes, we've got Pascali on a red hat. We'll take him off for young Nick Baker, and also while we're here, we'll take off Ronaldo on a fair rating. Ravine Tormine can come on for him, and for our last sub, I think we'll take off Victor Ross, especially because he's sitting on a yellow card suspension. Lucas Nunez, he'll be our final sub off the back of taking that 2-0 lead. And short off the back of those last couple of substitutions and that goal, which did make it 2-0, we were on the attack there yet again, but a loose touch that might have been from Max Caputo, who, to be fair, we probably should have taken off with him being quite injury prone at the moment, coming back from a couple of injuries to start the season. The Phoenix do good work there. Sloan Rodriguez will pick up an assist in Kabongo. We'll put that one away. Kabongo Kasongo, what a name that is, to make it 2-1. They hit us there on the counter attack. Off the back of that, we'll play things safe and start the time waste just a little bit here. Slow things down, so hopefully the Phoenix don't get a chance to try and pinch a point off us here in these last 5 minutes. But Sam Sutton, lovely ball over the top there for Gabriel Sloan Rodriguez, showing some of the quality that does mean he's quite a promising prospect for us on international duty. And Kabongo Kasongo can put that one away from point blank range. Past Alex Paulson, we now make our way into 5 minutes of added time, but thankfully starting to make our way quite deep into those. And we are going to pick up a 2-1 win. The Phoenix get a chance late there through their new import striker who did come in prior to the start of the season. But really, that very early highlight from the kickoff, that was quite key in this game. Ben Old with a poor back pass to Jack Duncan, and Fernandez made the most of it to give us a 1-0 lead. We scored a goal late through Chris Wood. It got cancelled out late by Kabongo Kasongo. So that error from Ben Old did prove quite costly. He ends up on a 6.4. Lucas Cully-Heald also had a pretty poor game there. So a couple of our All Whites players not doing the best against us here at AFC Auckland. But that is a big win. Might make things interesting going into that second game of today's episode, where we do take on the Western Sydney Wanderers. And it does mean our form off the back of yesterday's episode has been superb since we went back to an advanced forward instead of a pressing forward. But for now, we go top of the table off the back of a 2-1 win in the New Zealand Derby. And we are back about to take on Western Sydney Wanderers in the second game of today's episode, but we've played 2 games in between now and then. First up, we took on the Redcliffe Waves in the A-League. Got off to a good start here as Ronaldo put that one past Atado and goal to give us an early 1-0 lead. This Redcliffe Waves team, of course, does have quite a few former AFC Auckland players in their books these days, but that time Kelly, it was not his goal. In fact, it was counted as a Victor Ross own goal, and it did mean at half-time it was locked up at 1-1. A bit disappointing, but good work here from Callan Elliott. Really nice first-time finish on that ball from Caputo to make it 2-1. Early in the second half, it stayed that way for a long time, but late on, Victor Ross, he picks up a goal with his head to make it 3-1. And then in injury time, we ice this result here at the Modern Daily Stadium. Nathan Palmer off of the bench slots that one past the goalkeeper in Hurtado with a bit of help from a deflection, and we pick up in the end what felt like a pretty flattering 4-1 win. As you saw, that game was quite tight for a long time, but thankfully get one over some former AFC Auckland players in Michael Neal at left back. They started Stephen Havalias as a DM. Sanjelo started out on left wing, and also Gianni Bazookas came off the bench to get the best rating of those players with a 6.6. So the former AFC Auckland players did nothing against us that day, and thankfully we do pick up a 4-1 win. Off the back of that, we played our next game in the Australian Cup. Was a chance for us to give some players from our under-19 some game time, especially because, as you can see there, Georgie Fernandez did pick up an injury, and it is a serious one because he is out, if we check on it, for 10 days to 4 weeks with a twisted ankle. So it did mean we had to shuffle up our left wing options, especially because de Hotman de Villiers was still out. And what that meant is Adam Does FM started on the left wing for us in that cup game, which was against the Preston Lions from the Victorian MPL. And would you believe it, the first goal of this game was scored by Adam Does FM. We'll ignore the poor goalkeeping effort there. Adam Does FM, so proud, his first goal for the senior team here at AFC Auckland in his second game. That was a scoreline at half-time. Early second half, Justin Keat, a new signing, formerly of Western Suburbs, made it 2-0. And late on, Stefan Malkdee gets some help with a head on a free kick to make it 3-0. But the big talking point there, Adam Does FM scores his first goal for AFC Auckland. And now he's back down in the under-19s because de Hotman de Villiers is fit again for the second game of today's episode, where we do take on the Western Sydney Wanderers. But those results do mean we are through to the next round of the Australian Cup. That's actually quite an interesting tie in the 5th round. We take on Sydney Olympic. Those guys were in the A-League last season, now down in the National 2nd Division. We'll see if that one stays away from home or if we get the chance to buy the hosting rights for that one from them at the Belmore Sports Ground. But in terms of what that win did against the Redcliffe Waves for the A-League, we stay in second. If we win this next game, we will go top of the A-League because our goal differential is a bit better than the Western Sydney Wanderers, but so far these guys have not lost a game this season, so hopefully we can be the first team to hand them a defeat, and much like the Wellington Phoenix, they come into this one in some nice form. 5 wins from their last 5, a couple of them are in the Confederations Cup in Asia, but A-League wise, they've picked up comfortable wins over Avondale and Western United. To be fair, both those teams are down in the relegation zone. And also, before I forget about the Adam Does FM goal, it did make him the youngest goal scorer in club history as well. But now it's time to fully focus on the Western Sydney Wanderers. As I mentioned before, Georgie Fernandez missing for this game, and also Cullen Elliott. He picked up a yellow card in that win coming off the bench against the Preston Lions, so it does mean he's actually suspended for this clash against the Western Sydney Wanderers. See, again, Negro, he will start at right back, and Gabriel Tormine will start on the left wing because the Hotman de Villiers isn't quite fully fit, so he can make his way onto the bench. Justin Keat actually keeps his place on the bench off the back of a goal and assist on debut in that cup game. He'll be the right wing back up today for Ronald, but just that one change to our starting 11 going into this big top of the table clash. Hopefully we can keep up a pretty good record so far in this save against Marco the Snake Rudan and the Western Sydney Wanderers as we take them on yet again from Mount Smart Stadium. And here are the team sheets for this big top of the table clash in the A-League. There we are, as we ran through before. We do have Tormine at left wing, to Hotman de Villiers back on the bench, and also got Dudley and Keat coming up from our under-19s, seeing, of course, as Elliott is suspended. There are the Western Sydney Wanderers, 5-2-1-2, and did spot in there a road Nick Sullivan starting, and also Louis Toomey on the bench. There again, a couple of former AFC Auckland players we have to deal with. Hopefully we can beat them and go top of the table. And it's only taken a couple of minutes for the first highlight of this game. It is for the away team in the all-white. To be fair, probably should have passed in the all-black for this game, but did think that Western Sydney Wanderers might have came here in their red and black uniform. But Nick Sullivan bites the hand that used to feed him, and Cody Phoenix with the assist. He's a player who the fans are at me at the moment for not including in the New Zealand national team because his form has been better than Adam White from the Wellington Phoenix, but Adam White attribute-wise is better. Cody Phoenix, though, has been in really good form. We're quite strong in that left-back area. He links up with the former AFC Auckland man to give the Wanderers an early 1-0 lead. And 10 minutes off the back of that opening goal, finally we are down the other end here to hopefully do something for the first time in this game so far. Western Sydney have been the team on the front foot. Pascali will find Debungo, and we start to work something here down this left-hand side for now, albeit Debungo starts to retreat and switches that out to Negro in lots of space down that right-hand side. Pascali for Caputo, who will try a shot on that one. Does come off the post. It was not the strongest effort, but did force the Lawrence Thomas into a decent save. Western Sydney try and do something on the counter-attack. Taylor Tamer with a pretty decent foul there to break up the play as we're still 1-0 behind. And we might have another chance here to equalise. A corner halfway through the first half looking near post there, probably for Victor Ross, who's been doing quite well from those corners of late. Now, for some reason, Pascali plays that all the way back out to Ronald instead of taking on a shot, as he was in quite a bit of space. Eventually, Debungo takes one on from a pretty similar spot with lots of bodies in the way. He skies it, and we're still 1-0 down. And 10 minutes shy of half-time, we now have a chance here to build out from the back. It looks like here off the back, you can see that opening goal. We're starting to get our act into gear, albeit so far no shots on target, which is a bit concerning. There hasn't been too much of an issue off the back of that City game, the second one of that episode at the end of last week. Hopefully that will change soon and we can find a way to at least grab something from this game. If the Western Sydney Wanderers win this one, that would extend the gap on top of the table to 6 points. And of course, next time we play them, we'll be over in Parramatta, so that could make things a bit difficult for us unless they drop points at some stage. Rather fortunately, Pascali does end up with the ball back, but yet again, a long-range effort, which doesn't test Lawrence Thomas in goal. For the Wanderers, still no shots on target, so we're still 1-0 down. And that was it for the first half. We got some chances off the back of conceding that early goal to Nick Sullivan. The players who are a bit of a grudge against us, it's fair to say, him and Cody Phoenix linking up for that first goal. Off the back of that, had some chances, but poor ones, no shots on target. That's what's killing us so far. But to be fair, both teams haven't had many shots in this game. We are going to make a change at halftime. We'll bring on to Hotman de Villiers for Tormeen, struggling on a 6.3, but that will do it here for halftime. We'll tell the guys need to hit the target, and hopefully they get the message in the second half as we're 1-0 behind. And we get the first chance here of the second half to equalise. It is from a set piece. Negro floats this one far post looking for Debango. Can't quite find him, but de Villiers will pick this up. Floats this far post looking for Victor Ross. As I said before, he's such a good threat in the air. We've been using him this season as a starter, and he pays off this time. Puts that one past Lawrence Thomas, who it looked like got a pretty good touch on that, and we grab an equaliser fairly early in the second half. An immediate impact there from de Villiers, back from injury. A very promising left winger comes striker, and Victor Ross connects with that one to equalise things at 1-1. And just about to make our way into the last 25 minutes of this game, and Ronaldo's just struggling out there on the right wing, much like Tormeen on a 6.4. Justin Keat was grand that previous game against the Preston Lions in the Cup. We'll see what he can do in a top-of-the-table clash, as it's still 1-1. And shortly off the back of that sub, just seeing that Max Caputo has gone down to a red. Happy to highlight starts here, and I think he had a loose touch there as Western Sydney Wanderers try and do something here somewhat on the counter-attack. Gabriel Kleur makes his way down that right-hand side, quite a decent right back there for the Wanderers. Plays it back to Nick Sullivan, already got a goal. For some reason, don't win that ball despite the fact there was a slightly loose touch there as he tried to keep that ball in play. Wanderers do continue to hold up things here and wait for a chance to try and get back in front. There it is, Milinovic, who does get in behind. Good chance there to put that one past Paulson, but thankfully just drags it wide with his left foot. And off the back of that, we'll actually make two subs here because Chris Wood going fairly on a 6.5. We'll see what the Wayne train can do, having saved him up, not playing him against his former team. And also Stefan Malk can come on for Max Caputo on a red card. 1-1 with 20 minutes left. And shortly off the back of those previous subs, just about to make our way into the last 15 minutes of this game, and a couple of players have dropped down to red hearts in Pascali and Stefan Negro. Pascali's playing a lot better, and also Negro quite injury prone, so I think we might want to take off Negro here. Not sure I trust Paris Dudley in a top-of-the-table clash. Adam Mitchell can play right back and is a better star rating than Paris Dudley, but also Nathan Palmer. In fact, we gave him his debut for the All Whites as a right back. He's got the best star rating of those players who are on our bench. We'll trust him with our final sub, and hopefully he can help us find a way to grab a winner in these last 15 minutes. And up to the 80-minute mark, it's still locked up at 1-1 here, and I think we're going to try and go for this in front of our home fans, because that will go a bit wider in terms of our attacking width. Just see if that does anything. Also start to distribute to the fullbacks as well as the centre-backs. We'll chuck Taylor Tamer on support, especially as it looks like he's a bit more natural there. And we might also go higher tempo, try and get some highlights, and hopefully a chance to win this game in the last 10 minutes. Still 1-1. And making our way into the last couple of minutes of this game, we have now gone to an attacking mindset and put our wing-backs onto attack. A late free kick here to Stefan Malk. It makes its way through the hands of Lawrence Thomas. Stefan Malk off of the bench. He scores a free kick for the second game in a row. Off the back of that, we'll drop back to positive, chuck the wing-backs on support, those defensive midfielders onto defend, but that is a pretty fortunate goal. Not too sure how much those changes impacted that, seeing as it did come from a dead ball situation, but thankfully a little bit of set piece FC in the second game of today's episode. Of Victor Ross header, and then late on a Stefan Malk free kick, that one from a long way out, and that will make it 2-1. Interestingly, if you compare him and Justin Keat as advanced playmakers, Justin Keat just as good. So I was actually thinking about maybe letting Stefan Malk go at the end of the season, seeing as his contract is going to expire. There is one more highlight in this game. Hopefully we don't blow things as we now start to time waste off back of that superb free kick from Stefan Malk. But we are on the attack here. De Villiers, he'll find Malk. Can he score a second goal? He goes quite close. That one comes off the woodwork. We'll see if Phoenix can get something going there for the Wanderers off the back of that highlight. But that should do it. Referee, blow it up. Thankfully he does after 1 extra minute of added time. And a late free kick to Stefan Malk does mean we turn around a 1-0 deficit at halftime to pick up a 2-1 win. Thankfully, lots of those players we brought on off the bench had really good impact in that second half. Victor Ross with the headed goal 10 minutes into the second half to cancel out that early Nick Sullivan goal. And then that late one from the free kick to Stefan Malk does mean we pick up a 2-1 win. And it does mean we'll end today's episode top of the table. So a late win for us there, second up in today's episode, coming from 1-0 down to defeat the Western Sydney Wanderers 2-1 at Mount Smart Stadium. And as I said, that does mean because of goal differential, we do go on top of the league, above the Wanderers, hand them their first defeat of the season with that 2-1 win. 5 goals better off in terms of our goal differential, and already a bit of a gap back to the likes now of Sydney FC, Melbourne City, and the Wellington Phoenix, who are just starting to drop some points off the back of that loss that we did hand them before then. They were in great form. Hopefully they can continue to have a good season, keep our New Zealand players in good form before we do head off to the FIFA World Cup in 2026. But already starting to make this look like a 2-horse race this season. Quite interesting to see the Central Coast Mariners struggling all the way down in 10th. Not too sure what's gone on with them this season. Will be interesting to see how long that Mark Jackson does keep that job there for, because they were certainly our biggest rivals in the first 2 seasons of the save. This time around, looks like they are really struggling, but we are back on top of the league where the boredom fans expect us to be. Hopefully we can kick on from here, and by the time we come back for tomorrow's episode, we'll still be at the top of the league and hopefully might have built a gap over the Wanderers and those other teams in the chasing pack. But that will do it for today's episode. 2 good wins in top of the table clashes against the Wellington Phoenix and the Western Sydney Wanderers. If you enjoyed that one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll just see what fixtures are coming up. Off the back of this one, we've got that next international window with the All Whites where we take on Palestine and Kuwait away from home. Next little block that we've got does look quite easy. Sydney United struggling, Perth Glory struggling, and Macarthur FC doing okay, but should still be beating them. The team I'm looking at are the Melbourne Victory. They gave us a tough test on the opening day of the season. That might be a good one from Mount Smart, and we might see what's around then, because it does look like before then we could potentially have yet another international window. Maybe we can throw in a friendly with the All Whites or do a bus trip as we take on Sydney Olympic in that 5th round of the Australia Cup. But I think we'll come back in late December, play the Victory and someone else in tomorrow's episode. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.